When you think of the Underground Railroad, perhaps you think of Harriet Tubman, the abolitionist known for her role in helping hundreds of runaway slaves and who will soon grace the cover of the $20 bill. You probably don't think of efforts made right here in the Quad Cities area to help escaped slaves on their journey to freedom. This morning, a look at our journey to a well-known town with a little-known history. The founding fathers of Geneseo, Illinois, traveled here in 1836 from Geneseo, New York.
They purposely did this because the railroad was coming through in 1855. They knew at that time that if they could get a railroad through, that they could also get the slaves on the railroad boxcars and up into Chicago area, closer to where Harriet Tubman had her way through the Ohio River bottom.
The group of 38 left their families behind with the sole purpose of helping runaway slaves seeking freedom, even signing a covenant vowing their support to the cause.
These were abolitionists. There was great risk. You were breaking federal law to help a slave escape.
They broke every rule there was in the country as far as their church, our government. Many times their families were against them. So when they came here, they gave up everything.
Ann and George Richards were part of the second group of abolitionists who traveled to the newly founded Geneseo. They built the house that today stands as the town museum. 160 years ago, it housed runaway slaves. I'm now sitting in an actual hiding hole for runaway slaves built in 1855. You can see there's barely any room to move. You can't stand, and it housed as many as 3 runaway slaves at a time for as many as 3 days.
Most were young males who would have had to leave whatever family they had behind. So the odds were hard. You had to spend a good part of your time outdoors, often moving at night, hiding in the day.
Still, it is said that some runaways were prepared to drink poison if caught by slave catchers rather than return to slavery.
As it comes out in a little bud, it comes open and it slices your fingers. Children as young as 5 and 6 years old would be picking the cotton, as well as women who were in their 40s, maybe in 50s. And this was part of their job, and their hands would be torn and bleeding, but they had to keep going. The consequences would be whippings and torture.
We need to remember that history. We're still living with the consequences of that history. I've taught in a prison. I've seen how our criminal injustice system works. It's a new form of Jim Crow.
And for more information on more local ties to the Underground Railroad, just head to our website, ourquadcities.com. I can give you a few more details. Even here in the Quad Cities, there's a rich history. John Brown, who's a well-known abolitionist, had a freedom trail that went through Iowa. Davenport was actually the last stop on that trail. Now, in Rock Island, however, one of the historians in that story told me that that was not a place where you would find too many people that were pro-abolition. In fact, many of the people that settled there were from the South and were actually in support of the Confederate soldiers and helped some of them escape from the Arsenal prison. So really just a rich story all around. Just in that story, those are just a few of the details that encompass the rich history that we have here.